a couple of years down the road, you bite into this little hors d'oeuvre in your hand. You're at a little get together. There's like a little lunchable tray kind of a thing set up. Crackers, salami, cheddar cheese, just a little stack, you know?
Okay.
There's a whole plate of them. And for some reason, I don't know, every now and then, if you go to a thing and they have something like that, you're like, oh, this like cracker, sausage, cheese setup is just the exact thing that I want right now.
Yeah.
Like for some, it's like it's kind of like I think of it as like the Rice Krispie sort of attribute of like, I don't have this thing with enough regularity to say it's something that's like one of my favorites, but every time I have it, I go, man, why don't I do this more often?
Yeah. Yeah. Man, there's so many of those.
So, you take a bite out of this fucking little stack. You take a drink of a Diet Coke
Yeah.
and you sit back into a fluffy couch and you throw an arm around your loving wife.
Oh man. Wait, so I'm drinking Diet Coke and I'm married.
You're drinking Diet Coke, you're married, and you're crushing these little snacks.
Wow. All right.
And you're sitting around at a little get together. It's you and your wife. Her name is uh Allison. And this is one of Allison's friends and her like new sort of semi-serious boyfriend. Her name is Morgan and his name is Gerald. You don't really know, like you've met Morgan a few times and you've like definitely like had her over for dinner. You've been to gatherings or social things that she's around. She's been single for most of the time that you've known her, and that her wife has really been she's been in like an active participant in your wife Allison's life.
Okay.
But she was excited about this guy, right? And wanted to go out on like a little double date, you know, go out on a little double. Let's have like a little dinner date. We'll make
Sure.
dinner, we'll hang out, and we'll play board games or do whatever. Just spend the night hanging out with people you like and care about. It doesn't have to be all night, you know. It's a little dinner thing.
Sure.
Little
Drinking
dinner
Diet
thing.
Cokes.
Maybe you have a little maybe you have a little dessert afterwards. Allison made a pie. So yeah, you're gonna hang out as adults, as childless adults. Just gonna hang out, right?
Okay.
It's gonna be like a fun night. So, Morgan comes over. She and Gerald show up together. You and Allison cook dinner. You guys have like a really fantastic homemade meal. Kind of
What is
sitting
it?
around afterwards. It is lasagna. It's Allison's mom's lasagna recipe, and she's only gotten it within like the last 5 years. You know, her mom's like really kept this one pretty close. Her mom is like well known for being like she's called the recipe queen of Southeast New Jersey. And her mom has like won several cooking competitions. It doesn't matter what it
Yeah.
is. She won like an Italian one. She's won a couple different she won a cookie competition and a pie competition. She won a barbecue competition. Picked that up like real fast. Like
Oh, wow.
she's an incredibly skilled like home cook.
But she won't give, why not just give her recipe to her daughter? Why keep it
So
secret?
because she's very competitive, you know. It
Jeez.
wasn't until you came around that she felt comfortable. because she said she knew. So what's happened? So she has three daughters, right? She has Allison, she has Marie, and she has Stephanie. And she gave Allison the lasagna recipe. She's going to give when she feels that Marie has earned it, she'll get the chocolate chip cookie recipe, and then Stephanie will get the she'll get the chili recipe
Oh wow.
at some point. But so
Okay.
far, Allison is the only one who's earned a recipe,
They're
and it was
almost
like a
like
big
trust
deal.
funds for recipes or something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And all the girls knew that at some day there would be a point where they would receive a recipe. They never knew when, they never knew why. But one night, Allison's mom was staying with you guys, and you asked about it. You're like, "Hey, I gotta ask the recipe thing." You and her mom were just kind of sitting outside. Allison had already gone up to bed. Her mom's name is Brenda. Brenda always had a lit Virginia Slim hanging off her lip. She
Always.
took a long, anytime you were outside,
Okay. That's good, I guess.
she took a long drag off of it and it lit up her face in the dead of the night. And she said, "Pat, I didn't feel comfortable giving Allison that recipe until you came around." You were like, "Why?" She goes, "Because I saw the way she looked at you, and I knew that all of her time and energy and effort and love would be poured into the relationship that defines the two of you. And I knew that she would never, ever be able to put the intensity it would take to make a better lasagna than me. That's why something else
Man,
filled her life that will never allow her to eclipse what I can accomplish in the kitchen."
this is so overwhelming.
She says, "Thank you for that, Pat." She puts her cigarette out, goes to bed. So yeah,
Wow.
Allison, like, you guys make Allison's lasagna. You make
Is
the
it as good
garlic
as
bread.
her mom's?
You will never tell her this, but no. Every time you eat it, you will say this is better than your mom's. But
But
you
it's not.
you do not mean it in the slightest.
I mean, does she get better as she
I
does
mean,
it
it's
or
her recipe. She puts her little tweaks, and your wife is like a talented cook as well. She definitely gets it from her mom. So yeah, it improves, and you guys find the new avenue that it takes, but it will never be better than when your mother-in-law makes it.
yeah, I can't ever tell her that.
No, you can't. It's a secret that you keep until the day you die.
Don't ever tell anyone.
No, absolutely not. So she makes her mom's lasagna. You do the salad. You do the garlic bread.
Uh,
Allison, you prep a lot of stuff. You know, she's
yeah,
she's the one doing a lot of the cooking and stuff. Yeah, as that's more in her wheelhouse than it is yours. But you're in the
sure.
kitchen. You're making the salad. You're making the garlic bread. You're setting the table, right? You've got the wine out and opened. You get everything ready. You guys are a well-oiled machine. The lasagna is fantastic as always. Everything else is good. And you sit down to meet Gerald for the first time. And by this point, like you care a lot about Morgan. You you like her a lot. You think she's a couple years younger than her wife, but she's got a good head on her shoulders, and you just want to see her be happy. And she's like genuinely excited about this Gerald guy.
And she's like good friends with my wife.
Yeah, she's very good friends with your wife.
Okay.
And you've known her for years. Uh you're obviously like a friend to her as well. Not as much as your wife, but like, you see her several times a year, every month or so. There's something going on where she pops over or she does something with your wife or you spend a little bit more time with her in occasions like this, holidays, things like that. You're friends with her. You care about her. You guys sit down. The lasagna is fucking great. But one of the first comments that comes out of Gerald's mouth, who seems like a nice enough guy upon meeting him, he says, he goes, yeah, my mom makes a pretty good lasagna too. And it's just kind of like, okay, all right, that's, but then he kind of leaves it at that, not as like an introduction into a conversation about pasta or anything, but it's just like almost just testing the waters, you know, seeing where the limits of the conversation are. And the more you talk to him, the more you realize that this guy just fucking sucks.
Oh no.
He just sucks. He's like a pompous guy, and he's a one upper. Anytime you tell anything, he's got a story to one up it. But not just in a way of like, oh, here's a similar experience I've had. We're on a subject. His is more like, oh, you did that. Well, I did this, and it's like it's very intentionally
Oh,
like
I
one
hate.
upping.
Yeah. All right.
He's wearing his hat indoors. Just one of those guys.
That bothers
Small
you?
small things that no a small thing it bothers the shit out of you. I'm pretty laid. I'm pretty laid back and chill, but it bugs the shit out of you.
Wait, why do I give a shit about his hat being on inside?
You think of that scene in The Sopranos? When Tony walks over and I forget, he's like, this isn't a whatever Olive Garden. I don't know what it is.
Oh,
And
okay.
he's like, take your hat off. He says the thing or whatever.
Yeah. It's
You
good
think of that moment.
Gandolfini.
It wasn't. We can just move on. It wasn't something I had planned. Uh, so you think of that moment. You just kind of stare at his hat throughout the whole time, and he's just kind of like hard on things, if that makes sense.
He's like
He's
negative.
all, yeah, well, and also like physically, like he's just like kind of rough with the way he moves his chair around, and he's kind of like sitting in it in a weird way, and like kind of like leaning and flopping, and like this guy just has a lot of wear and tear that happens around him. He's one of those people.
So I detest this man on a physical level as well.
Yeah, his physical presence is uncomfortable. He's very in the space, he's not like deferential to you and your home at all. You feel like it's almost borderline disrespectful.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He interrupts a lot. He's one of these people who just can't be a part of the conversation. He has to like drive it.
Oh, okay.
And at one point, Morgan is telling the story of how the two of them met. They met online, and they decided to, after talking for a little while, they met up at a dog park, and sparks flew, and then she says after that we went to a bar, and she goes, I ordered a margarita, and you ordered, and she just kind of like looked at him and like couldn't place what it was, and he like stopped eating. He kind of like clenched his jaw, and he looked at her. He goes, what did I order? And she's like struggling to
What?
find it and can't like get it. And he was like, don't tell me you fucking forgot what I ordered on our first date.
What the fuck?
He's holding his utensils in his hands.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Like
she looks like a little uncomfortable. And she goes, Coors Light. And he like takes the knife, and he like lifts her chin up with it, and he goes, that's right.
what?
He goes back to eating. It's like a very uncomfortable moment.
Like the flat part of it, I'm assuming.
It's like yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's like a butter knife.
Yeah. That's really weird. I
It
think I
is.
just don't say anything. I just go, all right.
And
I just try
the
not to
rest of the
react.
dinner goes, right?
Yeah.
Um, they leave. You and your wife are immediately like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Like that was strange. And he was just like, he was this weird guy. And so he dominates your thoughts. He dominates the conversation between the two of you for the rest of that morning. It's a Saturday morning. You guys are going to the world's cheapest flea market.
The
Um,
world's what?
the world's cheapest flea market.
Okay,
That's
where?
what it's like billed as. Um, it's just north of Austin. It's out in like an industrial zone, you know. It's like a the sort of
Yeah.
some place that's just off the highway that's a bunch of big unoccupied office buildings.
God, those places give me the fucking creeps, dude.
Well, one of the buildings they have a flea market that sets up there, right? It's the
Okay, that's fine.
world's cheapest flea market. You guys you pull in, um you go inside and uh everything in there is covered in fleas. That's why it's so cheap.
Oh, Aaron.
This building was built on what people think is happening is that there is a pocket of like a cave system beneath this building that is filled
Okay.
with dogs, right?
Oh
It's just
man.
filled with dogs. And chances are, if your dog goes missing, it's in this cave system. And there's nobody there to take care of this. So the fleas run wild.
How did the dogs survive?
Some of the dogs go out at night and they bring like trash in and like
Oh, so they're not like trapped. They were just there.
they're but only the smallest dogs can get in and out of this cave.
Oh man.
So there's a real issue when dogs age out of being able to squeeze in and out.
Oh wow.
They call it the choice. And there comes a point in all these dogs' lives where they're born in the darkness of this cave, right? And as soon as they're up and mobile, they can get in and out of the cave pretty easily. And they're the ones that go out and bring resources back in. But there comes a point where they go, the next time I go in, I might not be able to get back out. And at that point, they have to compete for food, for resources with all the other dogs who are, older, more physically advanced. So um it's
This
a
is
really
called the
tough choice for a
choice.
lot of these dogs. That's what if you could translate the bark, it would mean the choice.
So what's the choice? To stay or go?
Yeah. Do you become a stray dog on the
Okay,
surface,
yeah.
or do you join the cave dogs one more time before you're stuck there forever?
The cave dogs.
But the
Um,
cave dogs have fleas so bad. There's nobody down there that can help them. So
okay,
when they
I
set up
get
this
that,
flea
but
market, everything crawls. They like crawl up out of the fucking ground, and everything is covered in fleas. But
why would
Pat,
they stay there?
Pat, the deep because they get it for dirt cheap, and the deals are so good, man, so good.
They're worth
You guys
fleas.
just you bring a bag, you bring a change of clothes, you bag everything up that you buy, you pay, and then you burn your clothes on the way
Ah,
out. They got a bin. You take your clothes off, you throw them in the burn barrel. They light them up. There's a little changing station. You change into your flea-free clothing, and then you go home with your haul. They advise you to leave the bags of clothes in the sun for about 72 hours, and that will kill all the fleas. And
ah,
just throw them in the wash, and you're good to go.
oh man.
It's also being run by Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. He's a cashier.
Why? Why is he doing that?
He's branching out.
The
He's
flea
trying to get into some.
markets?
Yeah, he's like, I want to do them all over the country. He goes with my face. He goes, I'm Flea, and you're like, yeah, I guess there's
Yeah,
nobody else who
that's
could
true.
take that. Yeah.
That
So
is true. Yeah.
he's working on it, and this is just like an ironic twist that happened. So but you guys, you're walking through, you're looking for deals, you're finding stuff, you're throwing it in your bag, but the whole time you're talking about Gerald, right? And as your wife throws a fucking sundress. She pulls off a rack. She looks at you. She goes, 60 cents. And she throws it in. Again, dirt cheap deals.
Yeah.
Your wife turns to you and goes, he said he's never been sick. And you kind of turn to her. You're like, yeah, okay. He did say that. And she's like, I swear to God, and you're like, I thought I heard that. And she's like, you've never been sick. And he's
Yeah,
like,
that's
no, I can't get
ridiculous.
sick. And Pat, and so you're like, this guy's a fucking scumbag. The way he treated her, you're like, he can't get sick. You're like, she's so much better.
What about chicken pox? You never had chicken pox?
Yeah, I never did.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, look at you.
Look out, shingles. Here I come. Uh, so you tell your wife, you're like, Morgan's got to get rid of that guy. Like
He
he was
sucks.
exhibiting some like big time red flags, some like pretty shitty behavior.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like walking, you go, he can't get, never been sick, can't get sick. A man sort of has like a laugh that sounds like nails on a chalkboard. It's grating and sharp, and it comes with a dry cough behind it. He kind of leans up against the wall. He sticks his head out into the light. You see his face. He doesn't look well. He looks kind of like sweaty, red eyed.
Whoa.
He goes, never been sick, huh? He goes, I bet I could get him sick. He
What?
goes, tell me his name. You give me his name and $30, and he like blows his nose on a tissue. He goes, I'll get him sick tonight.
Absolutely not. No.
He goes, okay, okay. He goes, I just heard you guys talking about a guy who was being a shitty to a woman.
I think I would just keep walking. That's so
He
weird.
like he definitely like walks behind you. He's like,
Oh
he goes,
no.
I hate shit like that.
Yeah,
He goes, I'll do it for free.
I would just really rather not get involved with this. I mean,
So
it's kind of I mean,
he goes, you know where to find me.
you just hang out here.
You turn around and he's fucking gone.
Oh man, really? To
Yeah.
the Dark Knight.
A couple days go by. It's
We would probably talk
Tuesday.
about that guy. Our conversation would
Oh, you
veer
absolutely did.
sharply. I
You
mean, what
absolutely
the
did.
fuck was that?
A couple
That was
days go
so
by,
weird.
middle of the week, you kind of fall back into your routine. Your wife comes home on Wednesday. She looks upset. You're like, what's going on? And she says, Morgan told me some pretty like concerning things about Gerald.
Oh, really?
She's like, he really seems like he's possessive, and we were supposed to go hang out this weekend and she canceled her plans, and that's just not like her. She's like, this doesn't feel good.
Uh-oh. What do we do?
So you think about it. You turn to your wife and you say, why don't we have the two of them over for dinner? Say Sunday. She looks at you and she goes, you think that's a good idea? And you say, honestly, she's around us, it would probably be a good idea. Keep her safe, keep her here, and at least have like a witness to like this piece of shit, this guy that you don't like.
Man, this is getting intense.
The rest of the week goes by. You go back to the flea market the next week.
We go back.
Yeah.
We can't keep destroying clothing.
Well, I mean, you get it so cheap at the flea market, you just buy a new outfit right there,
Oh,
you
that's
know?
true. Yeah, that's true, I guess.
Yeah. You go back through, you're like walking around. Yeah, you're kind of on like red alert. You're waiting at the pretzel stand. You feel like an energy behind you. You turn around, you see those same bloodshot red eyes and that sweaty face. He goes, "You find a solution to your little problem yet, friend?" He sniffs hard. He's got a runny nose.
You know what? Let's fucking do this.
He goes, "Great. Price is $50."
Sure. Venmo you?
He goes, "And a soft pretzel with cheese
Okay. Sure.
and a bottle of water."
Okay.
So you amend your order. The lady at the pretzel stand is like, "What the fuck, man?" She's just clearly pissed, right?
Sorry.
You give him the $50, the pretzel and cheese and the water. You give him a name. He goes, "Do you know when he'll be around?" And you say, "Yeah, he's actually coming over to my house tomorrow night. My wife is gonna make she's gonna make dinner for all of us." He goes,
What's this
"Great,
dude's
I'll be
name?
there." Yeah, he like turns to leave, and you go, "Hey, mister,
Mister.
what's your name?" And he says, "Theodore, Theodore von Flew, the sickest man in the world." Theodore von Flew has been sick
Oh, wow.
for 33 straight years.
Oh man.
He's never not been sick. He's always had like the flu.
Oh,
And that's just how he lives his life. And because of that, he lives like a pretty lonely life. He isolates himself, but he does dabble in a little vigilanteism from time to time. And if somebody's a prick, he's not afraid to get him sick. That's his logo, or his like mantra. He goes
oh
every night
wow.
before he goes to bed. He says a prayer. He says, "God, thank you for another day above ground.
Yeah, thank you.
And remember, if they're a prick, I'm not afraid to get them sick. Amen."
He says that to God.
Yeah.
That's okay.
God has heard his prayers several times and chosen not to intervene.
He's not really asking for anything.
The first time he makes that request, for just a split second, all the stars in the sky flash for just like an imperceptible moment of time. And the flash reads out, "We're going to let this play out." And
But what is he?
That was God sending a message to answer the prayer.
Wow. What is he? But what is he even asking him for? I don't understand.
No, God's just, you know, uh letting Theodore von Flew know that, hey, I'm not going to intervene,
You're okay. You can okay. Okay. Yeah.
you know.
That is fucking weird.
So Theodore, for the last 3+ decades, has been getting people sick all across the southwestern United States.
With a clean conscience or with like a clean soul.
Yeah, he had a rough childhood because he was sick all the time. His parents couldn't deal with it. So he was abandoned at a fire station at 9 years old. And the firemen were like, "We can't keep a sick child here."
Uh,
So they turned him over to the state, and the state took him to the hospital, and the hospitals are eventually like, he just bounced around, and everybody was like passing the potato, and then he turned 18, and he's kind of been living on his own ever since.
this poor fucking guy.
And he has the flu the whole time.
Oh, buddy.
So yeah, you give him that $50, right?
$50. This guy never had a chance.
You tell your wife, you're like, "I got the flu guy," and she's like, "What?" You know,
Oh yeah, I didn't even
and you're like, "I got the flu guy. I booked the flu guy. He's coming here." And so you're like, "Make enough for five." Pissed off, she kind of stomps off the other way. Sunday night rolls around.
No, this is gonna be so tense.
Morgan and Gerald are there. There's a lot of tension.
Is Allison still mad at me?
No, because she knows you have Morgan's best interest at heart because you care about
Yeah.
her.
I'm trying to expose this guy.
So you set everything up, right? Allison cooks dinner. You hear a knock at your front door. You look out. Theodore von Flew. He's wearing like a button-up shirt and like khakis. He has a jacket on. He looks like, hey, he's going to a dinner party, but he looks like shit. Just
Um,
visibly sweating, bloodshot eyes, right? Looks like absolute shit. Death warmed over. You open the door and you go, Theo, and he goes, hey, Pat. He walks past you. He goes, I won't be here long.
do I take any precautions so like that I don't get sick or
You've been eating a lot of oranges. You've been up in that
okay.
vitamin C, right? And he's giving you some
Okay.
tips. He's like, here are the medicines that actually work against my flu. So he kind of sits down, right? He says hello to everybody. You guys serve the food. You're there eating. You guys are all having a good time. The food is delicious.
What is it again?
Theodore, she made braised short ribs with
Holy shit.
like mashed potatoes and green beans, right? It's outstanding.
Oh
So
wow.
you're at the head of the table. Allison is at the foot of the table. Immediately to your left is Theodore, and then on the other side of him is Gerald. The person on the other side of your wife is Morgan. So you guys are
Okay.
eating, right? Theodore is just like scarfing it down. He's like, "This is like the best meal I've ever had." Gerald turns to Morgan. He goes, "When are you going to learn to cook like this?" And Theodore just kind of like stops, and there's like definite tension in the air. He stops eating, and Morgan goes, yeah, I want to take a cooking class." And she turns to your wife and she's like, "We should take a cooking class at the community college." And Allison's like, "Yeah, that's a great idea." And Gerald goes, "I'm not having you out of the community college taking a cooking class." He goes, "Where do you think guys go to meet chicks?"
What?
He goes,
Okay.
he's like, "No, you're not going to a cooking class." You see Theo get like a little bit more upset.
Oh, he's not having this. Yeah.
He puts his utensils down and kind of turns in the direction of Gerald, who's like not looking at him. And Theo says, maybe she doesn't want to take a fucking cooking class. And if she did, you don't have to be there. Gerald
Oh
kind of
man.
turns and Theo just sneezes right in his fucking face. Just a big, sloppy, wet
Oh my God.
sneeze. It gets
Holy shit.
all over him. It gets in his food. He doesn't recognize it, but it
Oh.
gets in his food, right? Theo sneezes in his face and then he goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He goes, you know what? I'm not feeling well, guys. I think I'm going to get out of here."
He's in his face and then he's leaving.
And he looks at you. He says, "Pat, Allison, thank you for the wonderful meal. I apologize for my early departure." He,
Don't worry about
he
it.
looks at Morgan. He goes, "Look, but only if you want to and only on your terms." He glares at Gerald and walks away. Gerald is like wiping his face off, right?
Holy
Allison gives him like
shit.
her napkin because he's already like sopped up the first one.
Oh,
He goes in the bathroom, he gets changed, he comes out, he starts eating his food, and it's just filled with,
oh,
sneeze. He
oh.
throws up, he gets sick. He's like, "Oh, this is," and they leave, right? They get out of there.
I
And
high
and
five my goddamn wife.
you guys
Absolutely.
high
That
five,
rules.
you clasp your fingers, and you both go upstairs and just fuck like you haven't in years.
Really?
Yeah. About 2 days later, you're sitting on the couch with your wife, your hand on her ass. She lays across you. She gets a phone
That's
call.
cool.
It's Morgan. And you hear Morgan say, like, hey, are you guys okay? And you're like, yeah, what's going on? She goes, Gerald is like really, really sick. And you go, I thought he didn't get sick. And
Just
then Morgan's
rubbing
like,
it
yeah,
in.
that's what I thought too. But she's like, guys, he's not well.
Okay.
We're gonna have to go to the hospital.
Okay.
And you're like, okay, well, take care, be safe. They hang up. You guys both laugh and high five again.
Nice. Is it
You
round
get
two?
a, you send a, you, oh yeah, I mean, oh yeah,
Fuck yeah, dude. Me and
in
my
the living
wife.
room, on the couch, ravenous.
We're still into each other after all these years.
Oh, you are into this,
I'm into this.
figuratively and literally.
Oh man, that's
As you climax together at the
oh.
same time, you get a text message on your phone from Theodore. It says, if he's not feeling it by now, he's lying. He's not lying. But I think he's going to be pretty sick, if you ask me.
Why is he sending me this?
And then he says, whatever happens from here ain't my problem. And then he sends you a picture. It's just a close up of his eyes, just
His
his two
bloodshot
bloodshot
eyes.
eyes. All right. Over the next 72 hours, Gerald takes a turn for the worse. His temperature spikes up to like 105.
Whoa.
He ends up he ends up having a heart attack. He goes into cardiac arrest and he dies of this flu.
Oh,
It gets spread
whoa.
throughout the rest of the hospital, and it's so bad it kills 40% of the population of Texas, and including you and
Oh
your wife. You guys just
no.
both die of the flu. You didn't die in the
Fuck.
first wave. You were in the second wave of the flu where they couldn't figure out how to respond to it, and you died before they figured anything out. So you guys like had it the worst. You were just
Oh
sick for days on end. You
no.
watched your wife die of the flu right in front of you, and then
Oh
you
my
reached
God.
out and you went, honey, and then you died right away. You died right then too. Theodore von Flew moved on. He went to Arizona. He was working a flea market in Arizona the last time they saw him. Still wearing that outfit from the dinner party. You and your wife are both dead.
Oh,
You
so
died
we
you
were
died of the flu. Yeah, Gerald was patient zero of
Captain Trips. Fuck. Man, that is
they called it the reckoning, colon the flu.